Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
I had I had such a imp intro to this episode ready to go.
Go ahead.
And I was gonna do the particles going.
Wait 1 second.
I animated
hold
that.
thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
We're holding that thought, everybody. We're holding that. Oh.
Is this backwards? I think it's backwards.
No. Oh, okay.
Okay, now do it. Go ahead.
You don't have the cigarette, so it doesn't even work. Hey, do you think about smoking?
Never.
You know, movies and TV have removed smoking over the years, but I feel like video games have made them cooler than ever in the last couple of years.
Video games?
Yeah, because Death Stranding 2 trailer, she's got like these fake hands around her neck, lighting the cigarette. That looks cool. You got
I'll tell ya.
The guy from Like a Dragon, you know, smoking the cigarette.
I didn't play that yet. I think that even watching this movie, everyone's always smoking. And I think this looks like a fucking problem.
Hey,
not like it's like addicting, but it's like what a fucking thing you always gotta fiddle with.
As someone who is midway through a first time run of Mad Men, yeah. I've never seen more smoking in a TV show it's almost like, is this a joke? Like every scene is like,
so much
yeah,
smoking.
so we're gonna go here. Okay, so we're gonna go. Yeah, do you know? So here it's like, oh my God, you guys, fucking. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's just too much smoking.
If you cut out the smoking of Mad Men, that show would be one season. One season. It's like cutting the slow mo out of the movie 300.
Yeah,
it'd be a TikTok video.
Yeah, it's a Vine.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway,
well,
Shakers. Let's get to
let's
it.
do it.
One.
I chose the movie Oppenheimer because I hadn't seen it. And it's nominated for, I think it has the most nominations this year.
I heard the least.
Oh no.
I'm joking, guys. That's not true. No, it was the
So, you know, everyone said like I should see this movie. But you know, I mean not that I didn't want to. Like it's just it's a long movie and we all know how I feel about that.
It's so funny every time. Everybody I know mostly has seen this movie, and then anytime I was in a room with you and Derek, it was always, yeah, I just keep trying to find the 3 hours to. I hear 3 hours and I go, nah.
Yeah.
Later, I'll do it later.
I'll do it later.
It's hard for me. I will just say on my end, it's hard for me to hit play on a 3 hour movie at home. But that's. To me, I'm able to go to the theater,
right?
And I just go, look, what am I doing? It's 8 p.m. What more am I doing tonight?
Yeah.
And then I'm locked in and I'm good. But at home, it's hard to kind of.
Yeah.
It sounds like a more daunting thing.
I really do feel, and this is true with most movie club movies, is I don't watch them all in one sitting.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah.
Because not to say I'm the busiest person in the world, because I'm not, but I am busy, and so it's like, well, I'm. Oh shit. Well, Sawyer has volleyball practice for an hour and a half, so I'm just gonna sit in the parking lot. So that's perfect time to watch, half of Oppenheimer, and then then I'll go home and I'll watch another half an hour, and then it's kind of in pieces, which isn't. I know how Christopher Nolan probably envisioned people watching this fucking movie.
Yeah,
but that's how I'm able to ingest it.
I wonder if I think he's talked about it where he's like, we live in a modern world now, and he's like, and I've seen movies on planes that changed my life. And he's like, that might not be the best way to see something, but he's like, he's like, I think back to, I saw him, I saw 2001 or saw The Shining on TV and it changed me. So he's like, I think even kind of David Lynch has kind of come around on this too. And where I know that what he said was basically, there's a famous clip of you watch a movie on your fucking telephone. Right. Now he's like, hey man, we all have like tablets, we have phones, and that's where people watch stuff. He's like, just commit to it.
See, and that's what
he's like, that's all. When Twin Peaks the new Twin Peaks was airing, he's like, just don't have it on while you're fucking feeding the dog and doing whatever. Right. He's like, you know what? Put headphones on. And like, oh, okay, you're hearing the sound, just give a little to it. And I think that's kind of the mentality.
now that I have this beautiful thing, I have been able to really appreciate, like, AirPods in, noise cancellation.
Yeah.
And I'm just locked in.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not on my phone. I'm just watching.
Yeah.
shit.
There's and maybe if you really love the movie, maybe you'll see it in a theater later, or maybe you'll whatever. I think that's cool. I think
I was wondering about this movie because it looked beautiful on this screen that I have here.
Yeah.
It was nice. But, it was such a big deal. This is all filmed in IMAX. This is like the first movie to really whatever. And even the hoops they had to jump to get the black and white footage, because that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Which I do want to talk about.
Yeah, totally.
But
it's like, you didn't have to. I'm not upset that he did.
What, shoot it in IMAX?
Yeah. Like,
I love that he does that, because I'll just say why I love that he does that. He's trying to make it an experience to go to the theater. Hey, if you go to the theater, don't just see it this way. See it this way. And look how crisp it is at the biggest screen possible. And it still looks amazing because we shot it with the highest resolution camera ever that we own, that we have on planet Earth. I love that. But that being said, I don't think this movie is one where it's like, oh, you didn't see it in IMAX? Damn, well, you didn't really see it. It's mostly dialogue.
And I will say, too, that it is such high quality that even on my screen here, I'm watching and go, oh, I see the latex trick that Garrett does here. Like, he gave him old lines. I see what you did here, which is fine. I don't care. But, like, you do see the flaws a lot more when it has that kind of resolution and that kind of filming. But again, like, I completely I agree that, like, I love that idea.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like there's a gimmick with James Cameron movies too, and I am on the more the Christopher Nolan side. Like, I'd rather it look as pretty as possible than the 3D effects in my face.
Yeah,
and, like,
James Cameron is going the immersive route. I want you to be immersed.
Right.
Christopher Nolan is like, well, if the image quality is really, really good, you'll already be immersed. Yep. If the story's really good, you'll already be immersed. Yeah, and I'm more on that side too.
100%. So that's just how I feel about that whole thing. But I watched Oppenheimer finally. I can't imagine seeing this and Barbie the same day like you did.
That was one of the most fun days.
I bet. And it really was. Like, Oppenheimer was heavy, but not like Schindler's List heavy. It's fucking hard though.
It's heavy on the conceptual,
conceptual, yes.
And that was actually a lot of people's argument with this movie. Like, I think there are a lot of horrors we didn't see and they should have shown. But I felt like seeing the movie, it's like, well, it's more about what was kept from us and him. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, oh my God, there's something going on, and it's almost like we're not talking about, like, well, what are we actually doing here? And it was more of that dread of that. The movie, he's a theorist. Yeah.
So you just see his theories put into action. You don't see the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, the death and all the stuff that it brought.
And that is kind of the horror of the movie, is like,
yeah,
what did I set in motion?
Right.
Like, and it's not, it's not in front of everyone's face necessarily, but it's out there. Oh God.
And I kind of feel like this whole movie is just some guy obsessed with what is possible.
Yeah.
And what his obsession led to was something that now is going to impact the world for the rest of time. He was just so obsessed. Like, is this even possible? Can we do this? I need to know. I'm a theorist. I think we can. I got to find out.
Yeah.
And now I think after he found out the answer was yes, it's him just coming to terms with that and, like, fuck, why was I so obsessed with this?
I think it's somewhat, he definitely is a genius in his time and place, but he doesn't think about end results as good as he can.
He didn't theorize that.
He didn't theorize that. Even the relationships in his life, he's kind of not seeing past that moment. How is this girl going to feel if I say this? How is my wife going to feel if I do that? Even that, you see it in his relationships. He kind of doesn't put it out as on a long enough timeline, maybe. And anyway, so more about conceptually heavy stuff rather than showing you something truly. Although there's some scenes that are pretty haunting in this movie, I
For
think.
sure. And that's the thing is like almost feel like we've all seen the pictures and the fucking heinous things that happened with those bombs dropping.
Yeah.
That I didn't need to see it again. Like I know.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it so many times, and I kind of appreciated the fact that it's like he sees one picture during that thing and he can't look at the rest.
Yeah.
And it's like, you did this. Like you fucking, it's because of you that this happened to these people.
And again, to me, it's almost kind of scarier. They won't, you can't, you're trying to see the other side of it and you almost can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like today we have every piece of information at our fingertips, but you didn't then. It was like, it's kind of, you're at the mercy of okay, so what has the government said? What is that? You just were not given access to any of that. And it's frustrating. And it's like, you gotta like, how do I get out of this? I'm being shielded from this.
Like
to me, that was kind of more suffocating almost.
He found out with everybody else because the president decided the world should know. It's like, that's how you found out.
Yeah.
And it is like, it's weird though, because you root for him, but also because, you know, he's the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like also like, but man, I wish you would have just failed and this didn't, you know, like,
yeah.
You know, like you're, especially how they play it now. Because I didn't know much, or really anything, honestly, about Oppenheimer before I saw this movie. And you look at it now, it's like, oh man, if you would have just like failed, I think that, you know, history would obviously be different, but like, would these bombs that could destroy the planet, would we even have these in the world? Because there's so many of them at this point.
Would we eventually have landed there, or would we never have them at all?
We never have them at all. And, you know, like, the war was essentially over when we decided to use them on Japan. And they try, you know, justify it here in the movie, saying like, well, they're never going to surrender, so we have to do this.
Yeah.
But I really feel like they just had this $3 billion new weapon they want to test out somewhere.
Yeah,
and as fucked up as it is, I think that's what but that's what kind of the thing I think leads you to believe. I think. I don't know. But anyways.
I love I will just say before we get into like story or whatever, I always love what's the thread or what's the what am I trying to say? What's the like elevator pitch that sold you on this movie to make the movie? Like like when a director says, "Oh, this sentence," and it's like, "Yeah, that's a movie." You know, when James Cameron pitched Titanic, he had this awesome painting of the Titanic way off in the ocean going down. And he's like, Romeo and Juliet on just that. And it was like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. You know, that got the spark going. I loved, what was I going to say?
What was the spark here? What did Christopher Nolan say to pitch it?
No. When M. Night Shyamalan did Split, it was like, people who have split personalities often believe one of them totally 100%, even if it's in fiction, even if it's not, you know, really there. Well, what if they believe something supernatural? Like a lot of people they've done tests where people who have a certain, like they might have cancer. They've done tests where they made people believe, hey, your cancer is gone. Your cancer is gone.
Actually,
and it actually goes into remission.
Right.
You know, but what if they believe something supernatural? So 100%, would they be able to do something supernatural? You know, great concept.
Totally.
And I love what Christopher Nolan said about this movie, where he's like, at one point, Oppenheimer found a theory that like, hey, if you ignite the atmosphere, it may be a chain reaction in which all the atmosphere lights on fire and doesn't stop. And he's like, so at one point in history, we might ignite all the air in the world and kill us all in one button press. Theoretically, it shouldn't work, but just that, that was what started the movie. Like, he was like, I mean, that's the biggest moment in history then, technically.
I mean, yeah. If there was and they said in the movie, not 0% chance, it was slightly less than 0.
Yeah.
And you still hit that fucking button?
Yeah.
Yo.
So that. I loved hearing that. That was the seed of this movie getting made. That moment, it was maybe one of the most pivotal moments ever. So anyway, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, let's talk about the movie. Now,
can I say one last thing before you do that?
You can.
Oh man.
Okay.
Well, it was just a technical thing. We already brought up a little bit of the technical side.
Yeah.
I love There are parts of this movie in color, parts of this in black and white.
Right.
And I love that they didn't just flip it in black and white in Adobe Premiere.
Right.
They actually got Kodak, hey, we want this footage to be the same quality, same whatever, not just slap a layer onto it.
Right.
Can you develop black and white film, but 70 millimeter IMAX size, which no one has ever made? And they're like, yeah, we'll work on it. Okay. And they made the special film stock just for this movie. That's the kind of tech story that I love.
Yeah.
Where it's like, can you make shittier film just for this? And yeah. Images looked great.
It does look great. It is so funny though, like, you know, Christopher Nolan has anything he wants at this point.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
including actors, and we'll go into that in a second. But like, it is funny that like, I'm sure some guy was like, "Can you just fucking do it later?"
I know the effect to make it black and white.
I
can
mean,
you just hit the button?
Like, I mean, my 13-year-old who's taken some editing class in middle school can probably figure this out. Like,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
we just do that? Like, we don't have to do it this way.
Yeah.
But to his credit, he's you know, steadfast, and he's like, I want it the way I want it.
There are some filmmakers that do think all this kind of stuff is bullshit. Like, come on, you know, whatever. But just like, you know, Jack White recording his albums and he only uses analog tape or whatever. I always appreciate when someone puts in that extra layer, because I always feel like they're going to work a little harder on realizing it. You know what I mean? To me, it's a sign of the rest.
There are, you know, there's a lot of movies out there when they use computer, and it's very impressive the effects they can come up with. But I have always been more impressed by someone who doesn't use a computer.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. So maybe because I'm not good at After Effects and all that stuff, but like, that's why I love our M5 Minutes videos. Like, I fucking love that shit because like I can make this.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know that. And I just love that idea. Like, I feel
we'll beat that. We could beat the system.
I really feel like if I lived in 1920s Hollywood, I'd be so fucking good at being like the cinematographer or set director or whatever. Because I shine when there's no computers involved. Once they get involved, I'm a little fucked. But, you know, anyways, that's just me. So this movie, I'll say a couple things actually, because the plot itself is like, there's a lot of fucking names in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to ask you, I did appreciate sometimes they wouldn't talk about someone for a second, and then they would mention the name, and they would show a clip of that person for a second.
He was on his shit with that.
Shouts out, Chris, because I was like, I don't know who the fuck we're talking about here. Yeah. And even at the end, I was still a little hazy on it. But I guess he said that he wanted to cast well-known actors for all the big names, so you could recognize it. Oh, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was Josh Hartnett. I had no idea.
He was great in this.
Great.
He was in this, and I'm like, damn, you know, I still know people who would write you off as teen star, you know, the shitty teen comedy. He's legit.
He's legit. I've always liked him, honestly.
I don't think I've seen a ton of stuff with him.
I'm telling you, one of these days I will pick the movie Lucky Number 11.
Oh,
when I saw that in theaters, I was like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and I haven't seen it since. So was that just like a dumb 20-year-old's opinion on a movie, or really is great? I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick that at some
Someday
point.
we'll find out.
Someday we'll find out. But I guess he was one of the 3 top considerations from Christopher Nolan to be Batman. Like,
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize.
He was on the list, and he said, I don't think it was offered to him, but I think at one point he just turned it down before he even had the final thing.
Wow.
He's like, that's okay. And then later, go figure, he says he regrets that decision. But can you imagine if it was Josh Hartnett, not Christian Bale?
No, that's great. So there is screen test footage you can look up right now on YouTube of Cillian Murphy also
trying.
He's got the Batman Forever suit, or Batman and Robin, whatever suit, because they hadn't designed the new one. And he's got the rubber suit on, and he is playing Batman.
Wow.
That footage is out there too, which I'll also say on that side, Christopher Nolan has always shoehorned Cillian. I mean, I say that in a good way.
Yeah.
He's always put him in stuff. And so the fact that he got to be the lead dude on this and did a great job. I've never kind of, nothing against him, but I never really thought about him one way or the other. I was like, yeah, he's good, he's fine. And then this came out, and I'm like, this dude rules.
Yeah, honestly,
he's put in the work.
One of those things where it's like, I never go see a movie for him.
Yeah,
but when he shows up, I'm always like, oh, hell yeah. I'm always happy to see him.
Which makes me, I'm not going to get into it, I promise, but even sadder that all this fucking Tron 3 news is coming out. And not only are none of the cast returning from Legacy, which is stupid, and it's got Jared Leto, and who I hate it all, but they have that one moment in Tron Legacy at the beginning where he is the son of the villain from the last movie, and he like does some little hacker shit on their computer or whatever, and goes like and walks away, and everyone's like, that was set up for the third one. That was set up, and they're not getting him for the third one. What a waste! What a waste!
Is this his first time leading a movie? Is this the first leading role? I can't think of another movie where he is.
He's definitely leading Peaky Blinders, but
I haven't seen that.
TV show. But I don't know about a movie. This might be his first like main
because
role.
he's in Inception and all of Christopher Nolan movies. But
yeah,
he's never,
I forget. Yeah, he was.
He's
Inception.
never just, and also he's always great. Like
Yeah.
truly, but he is great, but not this great.
Yeah.
In this movie, his first line, I'm like, oh fuck, like it was just like his voice sounded so different.
Yeah.
And see with Robert Downey Jr. First time he spoke, I was like, and the way he looked, I'm like, fucking damn, like
yeah. Robert Downey Jr. was excellent in this movie.
Yeah.
I think they both got I'll just say this. I think they both got Oscar locked.
You think so?
I think both of them are winning their category. I think Cillian Murphy, Best Actor, and definitely supporting actor Robert Downey Jr. Quote me on that.
Robert Downey Jr. said this is his favorite movie he's ever been in.
Damn.
He said
and he was in Iron Man 3.
He walked out and he said, of all the movies, I'm most proud to be in this one.
Wow.
I mean,
damn.
And he was great. So good.
He wasn't even in it as much as other people, but he's just like, he just chews it up every time.
But I will say, I thought it was interesting, we're talking about black and white footage. So it all takes place from the perspective of Oppenheimer, except for the black and white parts, and that's the perspective of Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
Which is such a good, because I was getting, like, I would be more confused. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that they did that just to help me out a little bit.
They said, Christopher Nolan said, it's that, but it's also kind of subjective versus objective. It's like what his personal story versus how it was seen from this other, I don't know. But more or less, yes, that.
Also, interesting that they used black and white footage for the more recent part of the movie and not like the flashback. Usually that would be switched if you did a movie, like whereas like the flashback sequences are usually black and white, but not this case.
But it's kind of like here's his kind of thoughts and feelings taken out of it. Here's the trial. Here's the
not only that too, but it's like I'm sure if they did televise those hearings with Robert Downey Jr., it would have been black and white then.
Yeah, yeah.
So it made more. It's like you saw it how they saw it.
Yeah, there were lots of reasons to do it. Yeah.
But anyways, cool. I thought that was interesting, and I really did think that like all of the cast, there wasn't a stinker in the bunch, and like even I thought Matt Damon was fucking great.
He was so good.
Did you read about him with this movie?
What specifically?
Well, I read that he told his wife after some movie he did, he's like, "I'm taking a break from acting." Maybe it was The Last Duel.
Oh yeah, I would need a break after that.
He's like, "I'm just taking a fucking break from acting." Unless Christopher Nolan calls. And then Christopher Nolan called him up and was like, I have a part for you. And then he told his wife, like, hey, man, I mean, I'll take a break later, but Christopher Nolan called.
I mean, I did say.
We did agree on this. And so, yeah, he went to go film, which is like crazy, but he was great.
I also think he doesn't get enough credit for how he, for a brief moment, hijacks Interstellar. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's not listed on anything for that movie. And then it's like, oh, let's go wake up this astronaut. They're trying to get him for a fucking hour. And then they get him out and he kind of dominates the movie for like maybe a minute. Yeah. But he's so good.
It's cool that like I feel like there are some directors out there that have the pick of anyone they want.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino is one.
Yes.
Where it's like anyone he wants for a role, they will probably drop everything and do it for a pay cut.
Totally.
Even. And Christopher Nolan is on that list. Like he offered the part to Florence Pugh, and I guess he's like, it's small though. It's not a very big part. And then she was like, I would literally be an extra in the background of a coffee shop. Like, I don't care. I want to be in one of the movies. So like, I really appreciate when like actors and they care so much about working with the director.
Yeah,
I always like that. So he's on that list. And honestly, after watching it, I saw Rami Malek.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to be in this.
No,
I didn't.
For most of the movie, he's just a background character.
Yeah. Seriously.
Only to the very end he starts talking.
Yeah.
But it's like, why the fuck is he even here? Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing here?
Probably just wanted to be in it.
I mean, that's what I thought too. It's like, well, he's, I get it. So we can go through the plot, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it probably won't take that long because this movie takes its time with kind of just these,
It was for me. It was never boring. I was always wrapped up in what was going to happen.
Yeah,
and they did a really good job of showing like younger Oppenheimer and like kind of the up and comer. Yeah, and then it doesn't really warn you. It just jumps quickly to like, okay, he's successful now. People know who he is. He's now he has a paper. Now he has more of a name. Like it was a quick bam, 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 bam. That's
what I was telling the other guys. I was like, I think what impressed me the most, as I said in a previous movie club, or maybe it was a podcast or something, but this last year was the year that action movies kind of bored me a little bit, and then history movies started becoming exciting, and this movie is cut like an action movie.
Yeah.
Even though it's just concepts and ideas, it's da-da-da, and I went here and I thought this and I saw things this way, and it's
and you see
whatever
what he's thinking, and it's like.
Yeah, and it never stops being engaging. It never stops being like, okay, we're this locomotive is not slowing down, kind of thing.
But I do think that Cillian Murphy is so good as Oppenheimer that you can't be bored watching it. Like he's just staring at the camera most of the time. Or not. Like he has a 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah. But you want to know what he's thinking.
Like beautiful eyes. I'm just like, what are you thinking, bro? Like, what's happening?
But yeah, you always want to know what he's thinking next, and it's constantly engaging.
Totally. So I don't know. I was never once like, oh my god, go move on.
Yeah,
Never once.
Which would have been easy for this to be.
100%. You would totally think that.
Considering, as we said, there's only one explosion in this movie, so to mark against it, I think.
Yeah, as we went on record saying.
Yeah, Todd and Aaron did anyway.
And now it's funny after watching this movie, and then we already recorded Todd and Aaron. It's like, oh man, that joke hits better now for me.
You know what? I kept making a joke, and I think Derek cut it, and I was like, really? I thought that was good. But it's making sense because neither of you guys had seen it. Where I kept saying, "Yo, show don't tell," because the whole movie is just them. Speaking of the horrors that happened,
yeah.
That was the joke. But you know what? You guys
we didn't get it.
You weren't on my level.
I wasn't on yours or Christopher Nolan's level.
No. It was actually edited just fine. We didn't need to make 8 jokes about the explosion in Oppenheimer.
You still can.
But anyway, so I don't know, riveted the whole time, and
I really, it's funny because there are so many moments, and I do have questions still. Like, I don't really get who Florence Pugh was. Like, his brother takes him to a communist party.
Yeah.
A communist party.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend is with him, but that's not Florence Pugh, right? He meets Florence Pugh there.
Yeah.
But
he just kind of has an affair with her.
But he has an affair with her, but it seems before he's with his wife, it still seems like taboo and they shouldn't be together.
Because I think, wasn't he married before that?
Oh, was he?
I thought so. Now I'm blanking out on that. But yeah, I think he.
Oh.
Yeah, he's with a different woman at the beginning.
I thought they were just like dating or some shit. I didn't realize that he was.
I think they were married. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, right. Because doesn't Emily Blunt, Kitty Oppenheimer, kind of confront him about that a little bit. Like, aren't we? We're not supposed to. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Well, no. She is married. She is married.
I didn't know I thought honestly. This is what I thought.
He's with someone else at the beginning. I know that.
What I thought, and I believe I am wrong. Just know that was that she showed up to the party with like his brother. Like that was maybe like his sister-in-law or some shit. And then they had this affair behind his brother's back. Because at one point he's like, I'm the world's worst brother. I'm like, why would you say that?
Oh, okay.
But why would you? But I don't think that's the case. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't.
Sorry, I couldn't totally clear that up.
You know what?
Now I'm confused.
It's okay. Maybe I'll go back and I did rent the movie, so maybe I have another like 12 hours every once, so I can go back and figure it out. Anyways, so finds her. They have I'm gonna say a relationship that is taboo for some reason. I'm not sure really why. Maybe because she's a communist. I don't know.
By the way, we got our first big Christopher Nolan sex scene.
Ever?
He kind of never really did. I think this is his first one. As far as I know.
Well, honestly, it wasn't very sexy.
No.
Which is fine.
But he was insistent on like that. It needs to be in there though. Like we need
Why?
we need to see this side of him too. And you know, yeah.
Yeah, you know, yeah, which is I mean, I honestly feel like, you know, with like Game of Thrones, like the sex scenes, like, all right, I got it. They're having sex.
It's there for entertainment. This is not. You just want to see the.
And I think
you want to see all sides of them.
It really was that. It wasn't like a sex scene. Like, okay, cut, got it. They're banging, but it was, you know.
And then it kind of comes up later when, you know, it's like when in his mind he's seeing her during that scene and stuff.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Also, I'll say we'll get to this later, but a majority or a big part of this movie is filmed in the most boring room imaginable.
Yeah.
And it is still a good, interesting movie, which really is like, that was your set?
Yeah.
Like, this place sucks.
I don't know how much you saw about that, but I watched the behind the scenes documentary and it's cracking me up. They went to real government buildings in whatchamacallit, where's the fucking test site?
New Mexico.
Yeah. They went like around there to real government buildings from that era.
Oh wow.
And they found that back room and it was like, I think we need to shoot this whole thing in this back room. And they're like, this has like no AC and it's like tiny as hell. And he's like, I think you need to feel that. I think we need to be in a shitty room that we want to get out of. And they did. And yeah, the producer was talking about like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to question him. This is a guy with all the ideas, but man, we were fucking happy to not film in there anymore. He's like, we were in that room like all day for a week or two. It was like, yeah, can we go to like a studio now? Can we go? So that was all, but you felt that you're in there and it's like, ugh. And I feel like I got called into the principal's office.
It is exactly how it felt. And like the fact that there was like nothing on the walls, you really wanted to get the fuck out of that room. Yeah. And every time they come back, like, oh, not this room again.
Yeah.
Which was the whole point.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay, so basically it follows young Oppenheimer. He is, you know, dating Florence Pugh, kinda. Then Matt Damon, a general, approaches him saying, we want you to work on the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer, I heard about this because our scientist friends have been approached by Matt Damon.
Yeah.
But they want Oppenheimer to be the guy. And so basically, they go around and they try to assemble the Avengers of the brilliant mind community.
Yeah.
And he wants to build this place in New Mexico, which I didn't know anything about this place. Did you?
No. Why am I... once we're on camera, I forget everything. The name of the place. They're doing the Trinity test.
The Trinity test, and it... No.
The place that he wants them to go.
No. A. There's an A in it. We got an A, bro.
Oh, my God. People at home are screaming it at
the
screen.
They don't scream at us. I don't know, man. I can't find it. But why can't I find this fucking place?
Dude, it's in
I'm gonna say
Los Alamos. No.
Yeah, the Alamos. Alamos.
Is that what it was?
San Alamos. Is that right?
No, it's 200 miles outside of Los Alamos. What is the name?
That's where they filmed it, though. They called it that.
Yeah, maybe that's where they filmed it.
That's what it was called, I thought.
Is that what he said in the movie?
Yeah, Los Alamos.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Don't panic, Rocco. We figured it out. Thank God. I'm with you, though. The second that you should hear our conversations about these movies when the cameras are on. We're fucking so smart. And the second they're on us, it just, you know, the lights are on me.
I'm like, what? Huh?
I panic and I blink. It's honestly how I take tests in school, where it was like I studied and I'm ready, and then the second they hand me that test, I'm like, it's all gone. I can't tell you. I'm gonna fail this shit, and I did. I always failed it. Okay, so they build the town Los Alamos and in New Mexico, basically in the middle of fucking nowhere. But he always said he wanted to combine his two favorite things, which would be New Mexico and what kind of theoretical physics.
Yeah.
And so he got his wish, and now he is basically recruiting all these scientists with their families to come live in this makeshift town while they work on making this bomb. Or to
Yeah,
see if
for a long time,
see if
too.
it's even possible.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not going to be that long. It's like 2 or 3 years. That's it, which is a very long time. It is. And so they have a really good, I thought, visual aid for the scientists and the audience to see how much of the uranium, plutonium, something that they need to make this bomb.
Yeah.
And they
the
put
material
a
they need.
marble in the thing, and so you can see how close we are to how it's a very well
Done metaphor.
device. Yes.
Yeah, to show that. And then that's when they kind of bring in Benny Safdie's character, because he's like, yo, instead of just collecting all this, why don't we use hydrogen? Like do a smaller bomb that ignites the bigger bomb around, whatever the tech is.
Yeah.
But it's like then you don't have to quite do that much of that, but then it's still a lot of work in another way. So they're bringing in other scientific minds to kind of get it, get it popping, so to speak.
This movie, like The Prestige, jumps around from time to time to time so frequently that sometimes it's a little disorienting to try to remember, wait, is this the... There's basically, I would say, 3 main time periods. And it's like the time in Los Alamos when they're building the bomb, the time where he is on trial in that little shitty room, and then the time that Robert Downey Jr. is trying to get approved to be on the presidential cabinet.
Yeah.
And so, but they jump around a lot, and not always to just then. It's always other times too. So it is a little disorienting, kinda.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But basically, they're developing all this stuff. We'll just stick through the main thread here in order, I guess. The main thread is they're trying to develop this bomb. They are kind of in a race because they think, oh, the Nazis might be working on the same thing. And if they drop first, oh my God, everyone's going to bow to them. We can't have that happen. But then, this whole time Oppenheimer's going, you know what's going to save us on this? Anti-Semitism.
Yep.
Because rumor has it the Nazis, they're not letting the Jewish community get involved in a lot of their science stuff, and it's a lot of Jewish scientists that know a lot of this stuff. There's some Jewish minds that know how to get all this going, and so if they're not going to listen to them, they're going to be behind. In any aspect of life, if you take away a certain a person, a race or ethnicity, you're only hindering yourself. That is crazy. People, racist people, I don't know. I just feel like the whole thing is you're just making. Okay, you want to be the best, but you can never be the best because you hate someone, and then you're excluding people. It's clouding your. It's clouding your shit. This is our anti-racism episode, anti-Semitism episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hate is whack. Hate no H8 is our point we'd like to make.
But honestly, I'm thinking about it, and it's it's so funny. I've been playing MLB The Show, and I'm going to use the term here that they say in MLB The Show because it's called the Negro Leagues is what it was called.
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
And every time I say it, I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but that is what it is called. So hear me out. But you go back and you play these games of these people in the Negro Leagues, and it's most of these people are better than people who are playing in baseball, but they couldn't play in baseball because of their skin color.
Yeah.
That's so fucking dumb. It's the stupidest fucking thing. And now these players who are in the Negro Leagues, a lot of them, you don't even know who they are, but it's but they were better than Babe Ruth. They were better than whatever. It's just when you take away something, you're just going to miss out on the best.
Yeah.
Hitler.
You're doing there you go. So hopefully that message got out there. Anyway, whatever. So they're developing all that stuff. They're doing all that. Blah 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 blah. Teller is the character that Benny Safdie plays. By the way, his proposal to construct a hydrogen bomb is rejected, but Oppenheimer convinces him to stay. We're gonna find other ways to we're gonna stick around, see this through. There's so much we could do together. Sorry, I don't.
No.
Okay,
no.
I'm picking up.
Please do this.
They finally get to the Trinity test. Now this is the thing we were waiting for in this movie. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen? And I kept hearing again on the technical side, dude, Christopher Nolan, he did a real bomb. It was like, no. You know, when he did everything practically in his last couple movies, it was like, wait, he's doing Oppenheimer? How's he going to do the bomb? And then it's like, oh yeah, no computers. Stop him. No, what's he going to do?
That dude. Oh,
me too.
Knowing that rules.
So, and then I kept hearing like, he was saying like, yeah, you know, when they drop this bomb, it should kind of hurt. And it's like, what is he going to do to his audience? What is the price of this movie? So once they finally did it, was it how you expected it?
No, but it was so powerful.
Yeah.
And I love, movies do this a lot. This isn't the first time it's ever been done.
Yeah.
Where the big thing happens and silence.
Yeah.
Like that, the thing you've been waiting for all movie. I can't think, there's another like a space movie or something where that happens where like they finally go into space and it's just nothing. And it's like, oh, fuck. You know what else did that?
Rise of Skywalker.
That's what it was. Was it Rise of Skywalker?
No.
It was some Star Wars movie, I thought, or some space movie.
I mean,
where like, the big explosion happens and it is just, you see it. And you don't.
You know what though? I think I want to say Interstellar did do that.
Was it Interstellar?
Where it was like, oh shit, the thing's and then it cuts to the outside and it was all debris.
Yeah, maybe it was that.
Did it. And I want to say there kind of is that in 2001.
Are you sure Rise of Skywalker didn't have some big explosion and it was just quiet? I swear to God, some Star Wars movie did this.
Last Jedi did it.
That's what it was.
Last Jedi when she's like, I'm gonna light speed through the thing. That was pretty sick.
That was cool.
So
anyways, whenever a movie does that, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And it did it here.
Yeah, I'll say we when we saw it in the theater, we saw it in IMAX and we were like, oh, it was like 3, 2, and again, he's telling fucking Drake and Josh he is in this movie. Not Drake. Josh. That's him from Drake and Josh.
I don't know who Drake and Josh is.
Is it Nickelodeon show?
Oh, I have a Disney
He's
Channel.
He's never
kids.
watched Nickelodeon.
Disney Channel kids.
So you don't care about Josh. You're more of a Drake Bell guy.
I suppose.
Oh,
I don't know who we were talking about.
You guys get that on camera? Anyway, no, but he tells them like, yo, if we get a weird, we get this kind of result, you need to hit this button and stop the thing or else.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And again, Matt Damon's going like, so there's a chance that this might ignite the atmosphere. By the way, we skipped over that Oppenheimer brought that theory to Einstein. Like, yo, is this true? It could ignite the atmosphere and cause a chain reaction and ruin everything. And Einstein is like, I mean, it could.
But also, this is your problem.
Yeah, I'm not getting involved in this. You could do this. By the way, this is one of my favorite parts of the movie. No, sorry, I was hearing hardcore music in the other room. But one of my favorite parts of the movie is him sharing that with Einstein and was like, if you continue to work this theory out and you start seeing more and more evidence, you know what you have to do? And he's like, what? And he's like, share it with the Nazis. Mm-hmm. Like, this is so bad, you're going to have to sit at the same table with the Nazis.
And be like, hey, we can't do this.
And like, share some fucking thoughts with them. Like, hey, guys, I don't know if you're going to do this before us. It's going to just end. All matter will cease to exist. So let's just not do that. Like, that's how bad this is. You're going to have to fucking break bread with the fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
That was just a chilling part to me. So I didn't want to totally skip over it. Yeah. But anyway, so they're about to do the test. Let's do it. Oh my God, what's going to happen? We were in the theater like, fuck, this movie's already loud.
Yeah, it's so
loud. God.
And a lot of times, too, it was cut to cut to something. It was a deafening.
Yeah. Dirt! Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit, I'm paying attention. So
seeing that in IMAX, it was like, they would do that and it would like set car alarms off. So it's like, oh God, 3, 2, 1. I am become death, destroyer of worlds. I mean, you could hear everyone breathing in the theater. It was like, what? It was just not what anyone expected.
Yeah. No one expected, but I definitely was like, well, it's coming.
Yeah.
Because they did a really good job setting it up before when they did the tests. Because it would be the explosion and then be boom.
You'd get hit later.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they did deliver.
This was so much further away that you would assume it's going to happen eventually.
Now, let me also share being at the theater. What was really fun is that, that was still loud as fuck when the noise caught up to them. So we did see Barbie afterward. Barbie, that we had like kind of a 40-something minute gap between seeing Oppenheimer and then Barbie. And then, so it was like, okay, let's get a snack or whatever. You know, as you do when you're waiting at the theater, you get, corn dog bites. That's the ultimate, I'm waiting snack for the movie snack.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get those. Somebody else did. But you could hear just every so often another theater. And throughout Barbie, you're sitting in Barbie, Do you guys ever think about dying? You could hear it. They were playing it on like 10 screens. And that was really funny. You just hang around the theater long enough and you'd hear it like, oh, it was over there. Oh, it was over there. So anyway.
Probably got to him.
But yeah, that was all really well done. I also really liked everybody protecting from the explosion. Oh, put this in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh, put this cream on. I'm going to put this cream
sunscreen
on. Hey, Jack Quaid, do you want some? Oh, no, windshield. Got windshield? It'll block the UV. Okay. Like, is that true? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is I wanted the follow-up.
I know. Does he have
I
cancer
guess
now?
I could look into that. Like, did that guy die a day later or what happened?
By the way, I know everyone talks about Nepo baby stuff, you know, actors who someone's kid or whatever. I like Jack Quaid. He's in this for a minute. And then he plays bongos when the test is successful.
Which I guess that guy played bongos in real life.
He really
all the
did
time.
that.
Yeah.
But that guy is in The Boys. And I think he's great. I think he's cool.
I haven't seen The Boys.
But anyway, the test is successful.
It's successful. Which, you know, in the big picture, maybe we wish it wasn't. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe if it was
If that rain had fucked that thing up, we might have a different timeline now.
Oh my God, you're right.
Sorry. One more question about the explosion. Did you like how it was executed visually, though?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have been seeing these filmmakers online going, yeah, that part didn't work. That part looked like shit.
What?
You know, shout out our, we have met the guys at Corridor Digital before, but they do a show where they dissect effects in movies, and they all bagged on this part. They were like, this looks janky as fuck. They didn't like it. And they said, well, you could see that it's just a normal explosion. It's just different parts. I mean, this isn't a mushroom cloud. This isn't whatever. It's pieces of a different explosion. You could see it kind of like peter out here. Let's give it. I would argue they're not sorry. You know, those guys are very, very talented at effects and what they do. So no disrespect. I don't think that's the vibe he's going for here is the mushroom cloud. Whoa. Oh my. I think it's more flashes of pieces of, did we see it right? Is that what you saw? Did you see? What did you see? Can we look at it? All these little fragments to me it's more kind of like something in our mind versus the biggest mushroom cloud ever. So I don't know. To me, it captured that. It captured glimpses of something that might not even be correct. I don't know. But that's all they could see too. They weren't, I don't know. To me, to make it the biggest physical actual mushroom cloud, it's practical, it's whatever. To me, that's kind of escaping the point a little bit.
No, I think I'm on their side. Christopher Nolan should have detonated an actual atomic bomb and filmed it.
Well, that's what we all really wanted.
So
and he wussed out.
I guess this is a failure.
No, they were just talking about, they have a lot of knowledge about, to their credit, have a lot of knowledge about practical explosions, and they could kind of see how the sausage was made on parts of it. But again, to me, it's more about the idea. It's more about the glimpses and feelings of how it should be versus what is really happening. Well, they're not looking right at it. Everyone is kind of, so.
I'm sure, I also could see how the sausage was made when it came to the old makeup.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it. If you are in any industry long enough, you can say how they did things.
Yeah.
And the times where they really fool you is when it's like magic.
Yeah.
It's like when a magician can fool Penn and Teller. That's compelling because it's like, well, they're the best. They know all their shit.
Yeah.
If you can fool them, that rules.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing.
I just feel like to say it didn't work to me is just, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I watched the rest of the movie and I think it fit within that vibe pretty well.
Also,
but
I thought what it did was when you saw all the levels they had to go through before they launched it, the sunscreen, they were 10 miles away. Don't look at it directly. All this shit. And then thinking, and then they just dropped it on a fucking city. Like they were doing all this stuff to be prepared and as safe as possible. And they just dropped it on fucking people living their lives.
So once this test is successful, the U.S. government just steamrolls their plan. We're going to make more and we got to show the rest of the world and whatever. And that to me, what would have been the easy thing to do is show like, yo, here's how horrific, not that it's easy, but you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, let's show the destruction they did. But to me, it was more horrific just in my mind of them sitting in that office. Yeah, so we're gonna drop one. Yeah, so what city? Really, yeah, Japan. Yeah, it's kind of like we kind of have to do this just to kind of prove our point. So we'll do it. Yeah, we got
Not
a couple
Kyoto,
cities.
because I had my honeymoon there.
Yeah, not Kyoto. Yeah, they're talking about it.
It's like some fun anecdote.
Yeah, they're talking about stuff like they're reading a buffet list, just like this, not that. I don't like salad, so like they're talking about it that casually,
Chuckling. It's
And
fucking very.
to
very
me,
scary.
that was more horrific than just we've got the bomb, send it to over there, drop the bomb. Like how casually it was treated.
And really,
oh my God.
They just. I've never really thought about them choosing the targets.
Yeah.
And someone just made that decision.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
In just some little office, this,
so
not that.
Fucked.
Yeah. And how the gravity is wasted on them. And
Yeah.
that to me was truly the horror of this movie. And then yeah, I mean, we're speeding through this, but
it's good.
that happens, the attack happens, and they want Oppenheimer to speak. I will say, to me, the most compelling scene in this movie, I will say, on my end, is when he has to give the speech. He gives a speech at that college.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I want to hear from Oppenheimer. And again, he's got this thing on his mind, like, what did I do? What did I do? But like, he's also like, well, I'm part of America. Or I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be an American. Yeah. So he's giving a speech and he's saying, so, oh, I bet Japan won't do anything again. Whatever he says.
That speech was.
But he's talking.
Terrifying.
Yeah, he's talking, and the way they directed that scene. Mm-hmm. I will say, I didn't think Christopher Nolan had this scene in him.
Mm.
I didn't expect something like this, where you don't hear the applause.
Yeah.
You hear, and then screaming, the bright light, and an effect that I thought they did a really good job on. Apparently, how they did his background is like kind of shaking.
Yeah.
And they filmed his background and then put it on a projector and just projected it over the same thing.
Oh.
So that they could kind of tremor it a little bit. No computer effect there.
That shit.
It's sweeted.
Yeah, dude. That's what I love.
He projected the same thing on the thing and just shook it like, hey, give me the projector. Okay, let me do that.
It tells me that Nolan has his own version of Shawn and Garrett. And I just really enjoy, whoever those people are, I enjoy that very much. I found out that, because there is one part during that, we see like a girl with her face peeling
kind
off,
of peeling away,
which is horrific. But did you know that was his daughter?
Yeah. He talked about it in the bonus features.
Oh, he does?
Well, they interviewed him about it when it was coming out. Like, that's your daughter? And they were like, yeah, so why? Why is it your daughter? And at the time, he was kind of like, I don't know if I want to actually lend any more information to that. Yeah, why is the victim in this scene that's dying your daughter? He's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't look. Let's move on. He was like, next question. I don't know. I don't want to, But since then, he's kind of talked about it where he's just like, it's kind of like, I think something felt right about having the closest person to you be in that role.
Yeah,
where it's like that. It could be that.
Anyone.
It could be that.
It could be the
for
person
you.
you love the most.
Yeah.
Because it was just random.
Yeah.
Who was there?
Just kind of throwing that little
crazy.
Anyway, this scene is super compelling to me, and then we just see kind of all the press and stuff that he gets.
Even like outside, you see everyone's celebrating inside and like all proud to be American, whatever. But he sees like scientists like throwing up outside, and it's like, are they throwing because they're so upset?
Yeah.
About it actually happening, and like, they did it, like they are part of this. Like it is such a heavy thought that you're just a scientist and you kind of lose thought of what will actually happen with the thing you've devoted the last 3 years of your life to. Yep. And then when you see the fruition of that, it's like, well, this is the worst that's ever happened on the face of the earth. And I did this.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that?
So I also, again, we might be jumping around here. I don't know. But so Oppenheimer meets with the president, which I was not expecting Gary Oldman out of nowhere.
I didn't even realize that was him.
I know. And that's another actor. He's always great. He melts into a role He's so good, and having him be that, and kind of like he's kind of like sharing his concerns.
Yeah.
And what is it, President Truman?
I thought it was Taft. No, Truman.
Yeah. It was like, you got blood on your hand. Oh, here's a tissue.
Oh yeah, he's like, no one's gonna remember your name. I'm the one who
dropped
it's
the bomb.
gonna be me.
Yeah. Get this crybaby out of here. I mean, it's just like,
what a dick.
Oh,
and I guess that is the actual thing he said.
Yeah.
What a dick.
He had comments of that nature.
Go figure. The guy who dropped 2 atomic bombs on innocent people was a dick. I know it's gonna be hard to believe.
So after the bomb drop is all basically the rest of the movie is kind of legal drama. It's kind of like
it kind of changes pace a little bit,
and it's kind of to eliminate his acts, like kind of to remove him from his position, basically, right?
It just shows him being destroyed
to take his clearance.
Yeah, but it basically is like a character assassination at this point, which is what people said was going to happen to him. Like once they get what they want from you, they will just throw you away.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
And the second he gave him a bomb that worked, he was out of the loop.
Yeah,
he didn't matter anymore. They had what they wanted from him, and he was done.
Yep.
Which happens all the time, but it's another example of that. And now he's haunted with this idea of what he has done and become.
Yeah. And then it kind of becomes Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Strauss. His character, his whole thing is like he's in charge of that, kind of like he's been secretly kind of like turning over the files to. Here's this, here's this private file about Oppenheimer.
Because Oppenheimer embarrassed him, right?
Yeah. They
5 years earlier.
Yeah, earlier. Yeah, Oppenheimer was kind of like talk of the town, and it embarrassed Strauss and kind of humiliated him in his department. So he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna hang you out to dry. And did you know he was meeting with the Communist Party back then?
Yeah.
Did you know? Da 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 da.
It basically shows you that you're stuck in that room for so much of that movie because of Robert Downey Jr. It was all he orchestrated everything to ruin Oppenheimer, but then at the same time pretending like he's his friend and give him advice, even though the advice he's giving him is just to fuck him over.
Yeah. It really is a Caesar and Brutus kind of situation.
And then
Jesus and
out
Judas.
of fucking nowhere in this middle of this Senate hearing with the public watching, Rami Malek comes out for his first lines and is just like, I don't think this guy should be approved because he's a fucking asshole and what he did to Oppenheimer sucks.
Yeah.
And like everyone can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was like, what the fuck? And then he just eviscerates him.
Yeah.
That was rad.
Yeah.
And then you see Robert Downey Jr. go off during a recess into his little office and started bitching at his aides. And that one aide, I don't know who that guy is, but he was so good. Like I thought the acting was great.
So that was young Han Solo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that poor guy, ever since Solo, because that didn't do very well.
Yeah.
It was kind of, clowned out of the box office. Like, oh, stop doing these fucking Star Wars movies. Hadn't really seen him since. And so him being in this, and he was great. People were like, hey, good for that guy. People, it's always funny when someone gets a role and a shitty, they're dealt some shitty cards, basically. It does come around for them sometimes. Everyone made fun of Anakin. And this guy's such a shitty actor, and here we are 20-something years later when he shows up at events now. It's like, hey, good. This, it's not his fault. He got all this shitty dialogue. It's like, he carried this as best he could, and I think people now appreciate him. And I'm seeing that happen with this Han Solo guy. What is his real name? Aldrin. He was also let's see. He was also in underrated Coppola movie Tetro. He was in that. Alden Enric. Alden. Anyway, he's great. He's really good.
And it seems like Robert Downey Jr. is obsessed with this meeting of Oppenheimer and Einstein at the lake. It's just like you see him like cut to that like so many times of them talking and him walking up, and then Albert Einstein just walks away from Robert Downey Jr. doesn't acknowledge him.
Yeah, it's something I said.
Yeah,
what is it? What was
something
that?
I said, and then he's like, "What did Oppenheimer say to Einstein about me? What did he do to make it so Einstein hated me? What did he say?" And then that guy, it's like, it could be, it had nothing to do with you because you're not important. And it's like, oh, fucking annihilated him.
Just like, have you ever thought maybe they're talking about something else? Like,
here's the two of the most brilliant minds on the planet. You think they're talking about you?
Yeah.
You think they give a fuck about you?
So,
they don't.
Yeah, exactly. So that whole case happened the way that it did. Rami Malek said his shit, whatever. It kind of laid out Strauss and all that stuff. And then they come in, all right, Strauss, we've got some news. And they don't look happy. And Strauss is like, yeah, they denied me, didn't they? They're taking me off the thing, right? Is that what it was? He has kind of a meltdown here, which this is why I'm watching it. I'm just like, oh, he's going to win. He's winning.
He's so good.
He's so good in this part. But he says all that. And I want to say there's not a lot of parts that I died laughing in this movie.
Oh,
but what cracked me up is that Alden Ehrenreich, whatever his name is, was like, you see Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight cred shine in this part, because the way a name is dropped is like a comic book movie. When he goes, there's a guy on the staff, there's a guy on the whatever that didn't
the Senate.
There's a guy in the Senate that didn't like the way you treated Robert Oppenheimer. Seriously? Who was it? Some new young politician. Guy's name was John F. Kennedy. They drop it like it's Robin. Like fucking guy left his card. Says he calls himself the Joker. Right? They drop it like that, and I'm just like, there's our Dark Knight man right there. There he is. That actually made me laugh in the theater. Just the way they saved that. Ask not what your country could do for you. Oh, that was great. Anyway, I love that.
That's hilarious.
And so Strauss is out. Ostracized. He's out. Whatever.
But then I thought the best way to end this movie was it shows you that conversation.
Perfect ending.
Yeah.
Perfect ending.
Between Oppenheimer and Einstein. Like, what did they say?
Yes.
And it wasn't about Robert Downey Jr.
Nope.
No, they didn't give a fuck about him.
Yeah.
It was about the end of the world and like the responsibility. And also like, I was saying like, hey, you had a award for me, but the whole time you're saying how I was like, I'm in the past. Like, I'm too old for this shit. Yeah. That's gonna happen to you too. They're gonna give you an award. That's not for you. That's for them to get rid of you.
Yeah. And you see them all in the old makeup.
Yep.
And it does, you could see the seams in it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is just like, it's almost like, yo, here's a play showing you like how this all plays out. Yeah, it looks goofy. Yeah. This is all fucking goofy. What are we doing here? And then ends on such a great note. Remember however he words it. You remember when I asked you if by creating the bomb we would ignite the atmosphere and destroy the world? Yes, I remember this. Yeah. I think we did. And it's just that visual of like him and things that didn't even happen. He's sitting in a cockpit watching missiles go overhead. Yeah. He's seeing bombs in the atmosphere. He's just seeing it all unfold. He's seeing the world change forever. Maybe not. I'm going to say probably definitely not in a good way.
Yeah.
He's just seeing society go a shift in a different direction, all because of him.
Right.
And that fucking close up of him staring at the lake. This recurring motif too of like at the beginning of the movie, raindrops and the ripples from it. He's seeing the ripples in the water and he's just staring. It's that powerful shot of him staring, and then the movie is over. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say something. I know I've always been a Christopher Nolan guy. I'm a little bit Nolan cucked, admittedly.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Tenet, so that says enough.
Hi, Tenet.
But I'm gonna plant a flag here. I think Christopher Nolan, say whatever you want about his movies, you love him, you hate him. I think he's the best at endings.
He is a fantastic ender.
This Inception, perfect ending.
Come on.
Perfect ending.
Come on.
I would say almost just as good, if not as good. Well, no, I'll just say this. Best ending to any comic book movie
The Dark
ever.
Knight.
The Dark Knight. That
100%.
speech, he's not who the hero we don't
need.
need.
The white and the white.
Don't deserve. And he drives a silent guardian. A Dark Knight. That title hitting that.
As we said before with the Lion King thing, if you end your movie with the title,
boom,
you fucking get me chills every
got
time.
it.
Every fucking time you get me. And they did it here too.
I think these are some of the best endings ever. Tenet, I could go either way.
The Prestige is a great ending.
Oh, phenomenal ending, The Prestige. I don't know. What other fucking movies did he do?
That's it.
Dunkirk.
I don't remember Interstellar's ending, honestly. I don't remember that one.
That was a good ending.
Was it?
She's waiting for you somewhere out there. Like, You know, they keep talking about love is quantifiable, love is whatever. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, well, there's your proof. Somewhere on a distant planet, she's still out there and she's waiting for you to show up. It was a good ending, but these are all like, these sucker punch endings, you're lucky to have one in your career.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch.
Dude, I will never forget when that top, spoiler for Inception, when that top wobbles for a second and then cuts, the theater was like palpable. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
But this was another 10 out of 10 ending, I thought.
I agree. So that's Oppenheimer. I don't know exactly what it was nominated for. I'm sure it will win a ton of shit.
Yeah.
Will it win Best Picture? I haven't seen the other ones, or I don't know.
I think it's between the two you've seen. I think Best Picture is gonna be either this or Flower Moon.
Oh, I say or Barbie.
No, I think it's those two. I don't think the other ones. Not that they're not good. I think it's the winner is one of those two. I think so.
I could see that.
I really I don't want to spoil my thoughts on some other movies because we might still pick Oscar season movies.
Yeah, I think we should. I think it's always good to pick the movies nominated because I always think it's a fun time of the year.
I agree. But personally, I think it's going to be between the two big dramas that were about real shit. I think it's going to be one of those two. So that's my opinion.
This movie was fantastic in every way.
I think what was really the big triumph of this movie is it made history they found the perfect line in making a movie history and blockbuster.
Yep.
And it didn't cheapen. It didn't go one way or the other too much. If it's too much history, it's like, well, show me the documentary. Not that it wasn't accurate or anything like that, but you know what I mean. It's like you can get too much in the weeds on that and lose people and just let me read the book or watch the documentary. But no, it was compelling as a blockbuster too. But it didn't go so blockbuster that it's stupid. Right. Where it's like, okay, this, slow motion. It didn't do any of that. They found the perfect line.
A lot of people could have fucked this story up.
Yeah, completely.
And I think that he is one of the best. Christopher Nolan is awesome.
And I think now, again, I'm a Tenet fan, but I'll be the first to tell you how much of that movie is dumb. Like, there's a lot of dumb shit in that movie. And people were kind of like, Christopher Nolan, kind of a gimmick. Kind of, he's always doing a gimmick. When the guy goes backwards, this is kind of his thing. And I think he went, I'm going to prove him wrong. And did this. And I think this put everyone in their seat. It's like, he can just do a legit great movie. Okay, that being said, I will say on my end, I do enjoy the side of him that does stuff like Tenet. Maybe more, like, I would say objectively, this is one of his best movies, I think, and best accomplishments. But I personally enjoy the big weird ass swings that he takes with something like Interstellar or Tenet or whatever. Time on this planet is on Earth. It's 20 years go by. Here it's only 1 minute. I love when he does shit like that. So I'm always looking for his imagination, using it in sci-fi kind of thing. So obviously this wasn't that, but it was an achievement just in like he brought history to the table and everyone was totally entertained by it. And similarly haunted forever by it.
Now that I've seen both, I do think that what a weird moment in time with the whole Barbenheimer thing happening. Like that I definitely see how that worked. And but it just so happened that they both happen to be great movies in their own right.
Seriously.
Like it really, one or the other could have sucked and that whole meme would have been so annoying, but they're both really great movies in their own way. And it's just so funny how that is they're even connected at all.
And us seeing it back to back, I remember telling people that and it was like, oh God, you're going to be at the theater like 6 hours. Like, oh my God, what are you doing? That was one of the best nights ever going to the theater.
That was super fun.
Because it was this. And again, we're all just in the lobby. Dude, like, fuck. Man, what do we even say about oh man. Just feeling like,
and
damn.
then going straight to Barbie.
And then Barbie, I wake up in my whole world. And she's combing her hair and it's not touching her head. And she's in the shower, whatever. Every laugh was bigger because it was like, it felt like taking a shower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I left both movies feeling like, damn, men,
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck us.
fuck.
We're not
Like,
great.
we are a fucking threat.
Dude, yeah, no shit. We suck.
But you know what? At the end of the day, we rule. No, it was seriously like it was soul searching after seeing both of those.
well.
But I thought watching it in that order was the best. I think if I saw Barbie and then this, I would
No.
it would have been like
Barbie's the dessert.
You know,
on top
Barbie.
of this
Seriously, Barbie was
very heavy meal.
Barbie was the soft serve ice cream after eating the pavement in Oppenheimer. Oh, I mean that as a compliment. But yeah. So
Well, I guess we can do shakers if we
Yes.
want. I picked it, so I will go first. Should I have seen this movie in IMAX? Yeah, probably should have. I loved it though, and I thought the acting was so good. The filmmaking was amazing. And honestly, like, you know, again, I haven't seen all these movies, but if this wins Best Picture, not gonna be upset. Like, I definitely think it earned that. Best supporting actor, as Rocco said, best actor, all these things. It all makes sense to me. It's a great movie. Very heavy and very depressing, but also I think it's important. Like, it is.
yeah.
The world was forever changed in a bad way in this one moment, and let's look at that moment for a second. I think it's important. Anyways, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 shaker.
Wow.
Not as good as Dave, but real close.
You're not Shawn not beating the Greg Turkington allegations in this episode.
No, I think that
No, yeah.
I will forever be not haunted because I don't have regrets, but I will be made fun of for my Dave review to the end of the time. But I'm gonna lean into it.
Hey, yeah. And I'll say too, you're not giving it a perfect score. Okay. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna give it a 4. And I'm gonna say on my end, like I said a minute ago, I prefer the Christopher Nolan that is doing the cracked out sci-fi shit like Tenet. I would even maybe put Tenet higher on my list than this, but not because it's objectively better. It is not objectively better. Oppenheimer is objectively a better film, but I love big, goofy creativity. Even when it fails, that's my favorite thing. We all have our thing. Dave puts you in a place that other movies can't. So you're going to give it a fucking 5.
I'm gonna give it a 5 because I feel nice about it.
Like I would give a way higher score to Super Mario Brothers the movie than it ever deserves. I'm talking about the 93 one, not
I hear you.
recent one. But you know what I mean? Yeah. If we do that on here, you're probably going to get a score that's like, Rocco, are you being serious? But it's like, but that sends me to something else. So yeah. I'm still going to say I prefer sci-fi Christopher Nolan, but he proved to everyone he could do real shit, real good shit here. So yeah, solid 4. I'm going to give it a solid 4 from me. And I would say this deserves Best Picture because it did history. It shed light on things people weren't thinking about. It had all the great performances, but on top of all that, it united the world. Like, the world came out to see this movie.
Yeah. I mean,
It
made
wasn't
almost
just
$1 billion in the box office.
It wasn't just some art house thing that like, oh, okay, cool. Not that I think it should win just for box office results, but I just think it resonated with the public clearly.
And it's wild because you're right. It is a historical piece. Like, I don't know what Killers of the Flower Moon made, but I'm guessing it didn't make almost $1 billion.
I think it made more.
No.
I think it did.
And I'm so happy for Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
Yo, you deserve this. I want you to be in more shit. I like you.
I don't think he's going to be in more shit. I think that was it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's like Quentin Tarantino. That was the last movie. He was in 10 movies. This is the last one. Do you see that they cast Brad Pitt's going to be in?
I did, yeah. Because the main dude is not an unknown, but relatively. The main dude, I think he was in like the Richard Jewell movie and a couple other things. Bigger guy.
Oh, okay.
That you've seen him in a few movies, but he's not like a star. But I think he's the main dude. So it's like, oh, is he doing like unknowns for this? But yeah, then Brad Pitt, I'm like, oh, well, there you go. That's great news, though. I mean, I may be bold to say one of my favorite movie characters in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love him in that movie.
I watched.
He's so good.
I can't tell you what it is, but certain movies.
Yeah.
I watched that movie when I had bronchitis. I was stuck in bed,
Yeah.
and I've watched that movie more than most
Yeah.
I've watched the movie at least 4 or 5 times, and it's so it's just hanging out.
I like it more every time I see it.
Me
First time I
too.
saw it, I was like, oh, that was cool. I dug the vibe. I dug whatever. And every time I see it, I'm like, no, I actually really love this movie.
The Charles Manson thing is such a small part of it that that part is wild, but that's not about
but it is looming in the background.
It's always there.
And you're waiting for it to ruin everything.
Right.
Kind of,
but the just hanging out with these people that you see, they're all flawed, but you like them all.
Yeah.
Like I just love that movie.
Yeah.
That could be one of my favorite movie of his. Maybe I mean, there's so many good ones, but like that's high up there for me. I love that.
I'm
movie.
always talking about how I see movies at Tarantino's theater all the time.
Yeah.
And they always every month they play they pick one of his movies just to play at midnight. Like, all right, any Friday or Saturday, it's a Tarantino movie at midnight, or whatever.
At midnight so late.
Yeah, but it's for, it's for all the it's the cult filled fans. It's like, oh, you want to go? Oh, they're playing Kill Bill. Okay, yeah, we'll go. Yeah. But anyway, they do it, and there was one month they cycle through it, so every month it's oh, okay, it's back to this, back. But whenever they do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I went to one of them and seeing that in a packed theater.
I mean, I saw it in theaters as well.
Yeah, I was with you. I think
I'm
pretty sure. It was great then, but yeah, it still was bringing it.
I mean, Brad Pitt won an Oscar for that, right? I think he did.
Remember? Yeah, I think maybe he did.
Huh?
He won an Oscar. Specifically, what he won the Oscar for was, is that a wine? I'll dump this in the trash. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. I'm gonna see George, and this little door ain't gonna keep me from seeing him.
God, you know what it is? It really is. Brad Pitt is so fucking cool in that movie.
Yeah.
And Leonardo DiCaprio was like a mess, but Brad Pitt just being cool and always supporting him. And like, I understand. You got it's.
Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't get enough credit for show. It's like he won for The Revenant.
Yeah.
And that's like, this guy ate shit for hours. Can we just give him an Oscar? But I would say his performance was even better in this because
I agree.
You could tell he really captured someone with severe issues, really trying to keep them from bubbling over, and like his little fits that he would throw. And
more about really how like Leonardo DiCaprio would improvise, and Quentin Tarantino does not allow that. Yeah. But DiCaprio was so good, it's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
And Pacino's in that movie?
The movie starts with Pacino.
God damn.
And he's talking about, I poured myself a cognac, and we watched The 14 Fists of McCluskey. Oh, what a picture.
What a picture.
I'm reading the novelization of it now.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know about that, but it, a lot of times they adapt a novel. Guys, this is a dual episode. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood episode. A lot of times they adapt a book.
Yeah.
He, after the movie was done, was just like, well, I want to know more about the characters. I want to know more. He wrote a novel after the movie came out, and it's the same story but expanded on.
That's
so
sick.
It's just like, okay, yeah, you know what? Let's go off a little bit longer. When they go to this thing, it goes on longer. Okay, and let's add more here. And there's even more fucked up stuff that happens in the book. But anyway, I'm not done with it. But it's great. It's really good. And what was awesome is when he released the book, he purposely released it. All right, this is going to be a shitty paperback that you find at the drugstore. So it looked like shit.
Does it have like the red pages, like on the side?
Maybe. Or kind of yellow, whatever.
Okay,
but when you open it, there's ads for coming to theaters. Serpico. In 1970, you will meet Serpico. So there's ads for dumb shit in it. And when it came out release day, it was $7.
Wow.
It was like not much. It was a thick-ass ratty paper book.
I got to get one of those.
Paperback book.
I don't read books. I know it's bad.
I will say this. I'm enjoying reading it, but it's a struggle. I do read books. Not all the time, but I go through waves. But I always read nonfiction because it's subjects that I care about. Ooh, there's a book just about the development of the Haunted Mansion. Well, I want to know about that. Yeah. I will fly through that book. But like novels and fiction, I just can't get through. It's never been my thing.
Like Jenny and Emma will always be on the couch reading a book. And I love books, but I think I'm a little dyslexic, honestly. And I just get lost in my own thoughts. And if I listen to it, I love audiobooks. That is how I have to ingest it.
Sure. But I also don't think there's any shame in that.
No, there's not. People give people shit for it, but that's how it works for me.
However you get stories to me.
If I can go play
let's not be elitist about that.
And listen to a book, I'm fucking stoked.
Yeah.
I love that. That's how I do it.
I've really never done an audiobook, and I should do that.
Oh, you should. You know what's funny is my kid's 5th grade teacher, they were saying like you have to read a certain amount of books a semester or whatever, you know, the bullshit we have to do. And I'm like, oh no. And then the teacher was like, but it could be a comic book. It could be audiobook. It could be, it's like, oh, thank you for like figuring out how like people need to learn in different ways. Like, 'cause my teacher's always like, no audiobooks. Like, first off, how would you know?
Yeah.
But secondly, it's like, well, why not? It's the fucking book. Like, I don't.
They just want you to have your reading, writing skills sharpened, and I get that.
Nah, you don't need to read. Kids, you don't.
You don't need to read.
It's overrated.
Not to be. I hope this isn't a dick comment. But do you know how many times a day someone here at the studio comes to me about like, is this description written correctly? Is this written?
It's always me.
It's not just, no, it's not always you.
I can't write shit.
Everyone here does it. Everyone. Kevin's probably in the room going, no, I do it fine.
No, fuck you, Kevin.
No, he writes it all like bullshit. And I have to swoop in and
I'm no
fix
writer.
it.
I mean, you look at any of my posts on Instagram, and now we're just all over the place here. Any of my posts about my kids' birthdays or my wife, whatever, 100% of the time, Jenny had to help me through it. I wrote it all out, and she has to make it make sense because it is just a jumble of words and feelings that make no sense. Like, did you mean this? Yeah, I did. Thank you. Thank God for you. It's always embarrassing. Like, hey, can you edit this post I made about you? That sucks, but I need her to do it because otherwise you wouldn't understand. How many shakers are you going to give Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh,
I'm giving it 5.
This really was.
I'm giving it 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Hey, for me. You know, we said it was a bonus episode. Bonus episode.
You really weren't kidding.
Well, we're here. We're this far past. I fucking love that movie.
Oh, by the way, at the New Beverly Theater, like I was talking about before, they did at the end of last year, or maybe summer, fall. I don't remember when. Doesn't matter. They did sell the sickest shirt. I got a long sleeve there for and it's they did a fake thing at the theater, the Rick Dalton Film Festival.
Oh, that's
all his
sick.
fake movies, because Quentin Tarantino has a podcast too, and he actually he in character said like, oh, Rick Dalton actually passed away this last month. It was da 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 da, and he gave the rest of his career like, here's what he ended up doing. Da 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 da. And it was really cool. And when they did that, they tied it in with the theater. The theater was like, hey, if you missed Rick Dalton's film festival, tribute film festival, because he passed, we still have shirts. They sold shirts, and I got a long sleeve Rick Dalton Film Festival, and down the sleeve it's like 14 Fists of McCluskey, Apache, whatever it was.
Awesome.
All these
the movies
titles were down the sleeve. Oh, they killed it on the design of that.
I gotta go to that theater once.
It's if you go once, you'll have a great time. It's
sure
always a super positive experience, and they have the best popcorn.
Hey, there we go.
And White Castle sliders.
Well, when we saw Killers of the Flower Moon, they did offer me the Taylor Swift version popcorn, and I said yes.
Oh.
And they poured pink pixie dust all over my popcorn.
That's why you didn't. That's why you were all uppity
high
during the movie. Yeah. It was in your spinal fluid.
Yeah, that's why my ribs broke, dude.
Oh, they weakened you.
Yep. All right, Rocco, what are we picking next?
Well, you tell me how this sounds.
Okay.
We're gonna stay in. I'm gonna give you actually 2 options.
Oh.
We're gonna stay in Oscar time.
Okay.
We're going over here. There's kind of this sleepy town comedy set around the holidays. It's like sort of a comedy, sort of a drama, about the winter time. I'm doing a terrible job explanation.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Holdovers.
Okay.
Or we have a dark comedy, I guess you could call it, by the director of The Favorite.
I love The Favorite.
Featuring more kind of grotesque stuff, featuring a girl with a whole new mindset, we'll say, discovering the world and how it works.
So
stylized, called Poor Things.
Now, I have heard of both these movies. This is what I say we should do. Is we'll do both of these movies, not back to back, but let's do Poor Things now, and then I'll choose the Holdovers, and then it'll be time for the Oscars, and we'll be all set.
Okay.
Something like that. Okay. Let's do that. So everyone watch Poor Things and the Holdovers. We're going to tell you the next 2 weeks what we're doing. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be here.
And watch after that. Watch all 3 Hobbit movies because you can still write in.
Don't watch those.
I think you can write in a vote. On
But
the
if you
Oscars.
haven't seen it, go watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Because
there
we
you go.
just kind of reviewed it spontaneously, but we did. And it's 2 5s over here. So
Yeah.
check it out. Hang out with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio for a fun time.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, everyone. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.